What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? Welcome to episode 28 of the Sports Hour Plus with Miller and Watson. Obviously, I'm Kylan. I'm joined by Matt, who's subbing in for Morgan this week. Morgan is down in good old VA celebrating her bridal shower weekend. So Matt has kindly decided to join me. Welcome, brother, from the Honorable Mention podcast. I know it's been a while since some of y'all have seen him. He is alive, as you see. So, how you been, Matt?
I'm good. I'm good. Just tired and busy, but that's so is life. Tired and busy means that you're doing something. So I've been definitely doing something.
That's good, man. That's good. And look, like I said, it's always great to have friends around to cover when one of us are not around. So I thank you so much, my brother, for sacrificing a part of your Friday to be here.
Yeah, no, for
When you
sure.
could be doing something else. But so we definitely are happy to have Matt join us. Um, yeah, guys. So this is the Sports Hour Plus with Miller and Watson, where we try to give you your sports news and current events in about an hour plus or less. So we're gonna do that. But make sure you follow us on our social medias on X, Twitter. Morgan is at M_India @_Miller. I'm at Colin W. Watson, and Matt is inactive on Instagram. So honorable mention podcast, honorable mention _podcast on Instagram. Shout out to your Instagram right there, brother. Right, that's where they can
Thank
find
you.
you. No
Yeah, they
problem.
can find me on there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, yes. So make sure y'all give us a follow. All of us are very sports heavy when we're not busy with our actual jobs. So like have fun, have some interaction with us. So as we talked about off air, to lead us off, we're gonna start with this. Those of you who've been following this, Morgan schooled you a couple of weeks ago, but I'm gonna give you the Cliff Notes version if you have no
Yeah,
idea what's
please,
going on,
because I'm
like
not
Matt
up
and
on
I,
this.
like Matt and I did when it first happened. So Scotty Scheffler, a golfer, a few weeks ago, the PGA tournament was in Kentucky. Um, Something happened. They told them don't let anybody through except the golfers. A cop got a little bit over involved, didn't let him through. ESPN journalist got involved, said, "Hey, that's Scotty Scheffler. Let him through. He's a golfer. He needs to get his tee time off, all the practice stuff. Y'all know these golfers, they very rigid. Gotta get on the tee at like whatever time and get ready for the tournament when it gets on air. All that good stuff. Cop didn't let him go through. Scotty Scheffler drove through. Cop said he dragged him. He was hanging on to the back of his truck or Jeep, whatever it was. Said he banged up, wound up getting hurt. They arrested Scheffler. You probably all have seen the mugshot. If you Google Scotty Scheffler, it's probably like the first or the second thing that comes up. Saw the mugshot. But this week, all charges were dropped because, as we all found out, that's the story. As people started digging into the story, the cop didn't have his body camera on, so it became a he said literally. And so what wound up happening is the cop got disciplined. The Kentucky cops dropped the charges, and here we are talking about it. So my reaction to this is good for Scotty Scheffler, that he was able to get those charges dropped. Very unfortunate incident. We hope the cop is okay. But it's this is what happens a lot of times with these interactions, especially when there's no body camera. It becomes a he said, and just happy that other than some minor injuries and obviously Scotty Scheffler taking a little bit of a minor hit, getting jail. I hate saying a minor hit for somebody going to prison to get the mugshot, but for all intents and purposes, a minor hit from being there, from being in jail permanently. So, um, you know, he's back on the course. They say he's the nicest guy. Haven't met him personally, but good that all this got rectified, and happy that he can get back to what he does best, playing golf and being happy, celebrating with his wife and newborn child. So we're happy for him, and that this didn't end up being more serious than it could have been. Uh,
Well, those body cams are not cheap, and so they should be on. So that's
yeah.
what I'll say. I don't know a ton about the story, but
Yeah, what's up,
they
RC?
equipped you with that. They sent you out there with that, so
Yeah, man.
that you need to have it.
Yeah, man. So yeah, make sure PSA for all cops. They already should know this,
Yo,
but
yo.
but make sure them body cams are on so that people don't have to dig up
He
in
said. He
there.
said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it becomes a he said, and People are gonna be like, it's the famous golfer versus the unknown cop that nobody knew until this happened to. So like, it just becomes a whole thing, right? So, but we're happy, like I said, this got rectified. I guess justice was served from the reporting, from what everybody said. So like the cops under discipline. Scotty Scheffler was able to get the charges dropped, which obviously is the only thing that matters, both for their safety and the charges get dropped or being confirmed. And it seems like it wasn't confirmed because the camera was off, as Matt said, and I said so. I guess no harm, no foul. So
there was harm. There was harm.
Yeah, there was harm on both ends.
I guess no foul that you could call. They reviewed it and they couldn't tell. They couldn't confirm the call, I guess.
Right. So yeah, so to another one. The WNBA is experiencing record viewership on all channels. It came out this
Why
week
is that?
from Front Office Sports. I think it's this rookie class, man. Some people might want to chalk it up to Caitlin Clark and everything. But before we get there, shout out to RC in the comments. I showed this comment a little bit, but we were a little bit distracted on closing off this thing. Shout out to you, RC. Thank you. Matt appreciates it. Yeah, man. We try to hold it down when any of us are out. So we're just happy to have a deep roster of people who have come on the show and who can still keep it informative and everything. And we're happy that you guys continue to listen. So continue to do that. Like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Follow Matt. Like I said, honorable mention _podcast
and listen on YouTube as well. Honorable mention podcast. Look it up.
Yes. So
just dropped the episode recently.
Cool. Yeah, man. So definitely check him out, and he does great work. That's how we connected. Was up on a podcast episode on his show, and look
absolutely
many
podcast episodes on my show.
And the friendship is still going. So the WNBA is experiencing record viewership on all channels: NBA TV, CBS, Ion Television. I'm very surprised that some of y'all outside of like the Northeast can get Ion. So happy that y'all supporting Ion there. So Ion's getting views. Everybody's experiencing record views. And my reaction to this is good. The more people that watch the WNBA, especially the WNBA, me being a longtime fan growing up on it, from back when they had the Houston Comets and the Charlotte Sting and all that. I'm very happy to see these people following the WNBA again. Obviously, some people, like I said, want to chalk that up to Caitlin Clark. But obviously, this rookie class is very top-heavy, very deep. Cameron Brink, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, like Camila Cardoso, who I think will debut before this week is out. So it's a very deep class, and it's great that all these people are watching, and whether that's Caitlin Clark, whether that's the other three, I'm just happy that people are watching, because as Matt and I will say, more viewership, more money. So that's what we want. The Las Vegas, the state, Las Vegas Gaming Commission is paying each Aces player $100,000. Happy about that. Happy that these women are getting their money, getting their checks, and the more the merrier. But what I will say, because I did shout y'all out in a negative way in my Days Not Them last week, those of you that come here that are more fans into the WNBA space, and you're more of a fan of one or two of these players because you followed them on college, and then you come into the WNBA or into these Twitter spaces and social media spaces of the W Twitter, please don't come ignorant because people will come for you. As Matt and I have seen, the reporters and the people who follow this religiously will come at your neck if you out here thinking that your favorite was going to run roughshod because that person, whether it be Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, because both of them have a rabid fan base. Don't come in here acting more holier than thou, and you've just been watching them for 4 years. Like that's my comment to newer WNBA fans. Don't come in there. Don't come into these spaces acting like you know stuff, please. Like, you can be a fan of the players. We welcome you, but come. There's levels to this. That's a nice way of saying it.
Okay, but I will say, I mean, the viewership, it was tracking along with her games though during the NCAA tournament last year and the blow up that Caitlin Clark was having,
right?
And so you can't say it's not you
Oh
know.
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that
It's
obviously
she's taking it to another level.
Yeah, obviously it's her and Angel Reese. I mean, 6 million people tuned in to watch Angel Reese, and I think and somebody and the other team like the Chicago Sky play, and it was a grainy Twitter feed. So Angel Reese got her followers. They all got their followers from playing 4 years, but obviously Caitlin Clark's it tracks for Caitlin Clark's games. It's also been tracking with Angel Reese's games. But that's why I said like great viewership. I'm happy for these people. Like more. Me. I'm basketball 1A, football 1B. So more people that watch basketball, the better. So I'm all for it. But I just I look, man, we're both in circles. We know that these people get annoying when their favorites aren't doing well, as we've seen with Caitlin Clark. Not her, but her fandom chasing Aaliyah Boston off social media. A lot of her other teammates because they've been harassing them because they just won their first game last week, literally last week, and they've been harassing them so much so that Aaliyah Boston isn't on social media anymore because they've been harassing her. So and when I say it's Caitlin Clark, we're talking about her fans, not her. And as we know, Caitlin Clark, as we see it on television, see it in person, can get really spicy sometimes. So she'll have to moderate, and we'll get to that. But specifically to this, yeah, Caitlin Clark brings the views. I'm a fan of Caitlin Clark. I want nobody to think I'm not. But, she brings the views, and she's not the only one. People like Cameron Brake, people like Angel Reese. But, yeah, the more, like I said, the more the merrier. Like I said, happy because it brings more money, more sponsors, more people get bread and get fed because of the star power of this rookie class. And this might be the deepest rookie class ever, man. I don't know if you got anything to add on that one.
I mean, it's a very impressive, and it's not going to take long for them to actually unlock. I mean, I think by the start of next season, they're all going to be cooking, consistently getting 20s. Mm-hmm. They, especially Caitlin Clark started off slow, but you can't hold talent down for too long. She is a little frail. Even for for the league, so she does have to put on a little more muscle to be able to fight through contact.
Yeah, she's got the Kevin Durant problem. When he first came in, he was kind of the same way, a little bit smaller, than he had to buff up after his rookie year. So I definitely
he's buffed up. Kevin Durant now buffed up is
buff. Kevin Durant was out here when he first came. Because I remember saying this, I didn't know you yet, but I was like, this is the Kevin Durant that everybody was hype about. Like looking at him, and he looked like an 8th grader in comparison to like LeBron and all the other.
He gets buckets though. Always got a bucket.
Always got a bucket though. But yeah, so you can't. We'll get to Caitlin Clark in a minute. You can't hold, like you say, can't hold talent down. And like I said, grateful to all these people who are watching. Continue to watch. The money is coming, and these players need that. And obviously it's going to be a little bit more concentrated of a WNBA season with the Olympics coming up. So keep watching. But speaking of players on the hot streak, A'ja Wilson, man, on a scoring streak. I think she's been dropping 30+ points these last 5 to 6 games. Very impressive, 30 and 10. Like, I know that. I don't know where you rank her, but I think right now she might be the best player. I think matter of fact, I'm gonna make a definitive statement. She is the best player in the WNBA right now, on the best team, a New York Times bestseller. Finally got a featured shoe deal with Nike and Gatorade. Like that girl is one of the best basketball players ever. And like, for a while people were just calling her like a paint beast, and now we see her taking jump shots, dominating in all aspects of the game. So, good on A'ja Wilson for the scoring streak. I hope it continues. The Aces are flying high, despite the fact that Darren Waller was being a hater and got a divorce. Did you see that rap? I see like part of the rap video, but apparently there's a rap video out where
Darren Waller dropped a rap video.
Yes, because I don't know if you've seen, but him and Kelsey Plum, there's rumors. It's not official yet, but they're on the outs and about to get a divorce. And he dropped a rap video about it where there was a model that looked pretty close to him. And at least in the clip I seen, it seemed like she either stabbed him or did something dirty, and he wound up dying on the beach in this music video. Again, I didn't see the whole thing. You might want to Google that. But yeah, okay. So seems like the only thing that's going to stop the Aces this year, other than another team, is the drama. It seems like, but yeah, I'm impressed with what Asia's doing. What about you? What you think?
I haven't been able to watch enough. You said dropping 30-10 average.
Nah, just in like the last 5-6 games. So like,
In the last 5-6 games. What about for the season? What's she doing?
Hold on. I don't want to be out here giving bad information. But yeah, so Asia's been dominating. Let's look up these averages. I do not want to give bad info. Nope, that's salary average. We don't want that. 26.2 points, 13.2 rebounds, 1.4 steals, and 2.6 blocks per game.
Getting busy.
Yeah.
Any league, anywhere. That's balling.
Yeah, man. So, I think that, I think between her, Stewie, obviously Skylar, you got Nneka Ogwumike, like, I think that's a couple. Jackie, you got her own teammate, Jackie Young, like, but I think A'ja Wilson right now is putting the argument that she's the best player right now, in the WNBA. And we will get to in the comments. RC wants us to talk about, or is talking about his fever, and we'll get to his fever in a minute. But I don't know, like like you said, that's big balling anywhere on the best team, 2-time defending champion. Like A'ja Wilson just came into the league and was winning. So there's nothing. There's like nothing you can really like say against that. So I'm happy that she's doing well. Like I said, bestseller, New York Times bestseller. Got a Gatorade endorsement deal now and a Nike featured shoe deal now. So, she should be on the mouths of a lot of people. Like, she's definitely making a statement. 26.2 points per game, 2.6 blocks. Like, that's like Shaq numbers. That's numbers. That's
Shaq on the Magic numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's good. Yeah, she's dominating. Like, that's just like, obviously the season just started. I think it's only in this 3rd or 4th week. So like, and that's just coming out basically. So we'll see as the season goes on. But yeah, she's making a strong showing as an early MVP favorite, to me at least. So yeah, it's RC's fever. So Caitlin Clark, most recently she dropped 30 points. So the question is, do you think she's starting to figure out the speed of the WNBA game? And I know a lot of Fever fans will say she can start figuring it out and getting them some wins. But what do you think about Caitlin Clark? Do you think she's starting to figure it out?
You can't hold talent down. I think she's generational, and at a certain point, she's gonna start letting that thing go. And the dangerous thing is, you could be playing Steph, and I'm not saying she is Steph Curry, but you could be playing a player like that, and they're 1 for 20, and then that second one goes down, they're 2 for 21, and they're off to the races. And I think at a certain point, we'll get there. We may be there now, but I definitely think she's gonna start getting off. She's gonna start getting busy.
Yeah, I'm of the mindset that I'm like you, man. That's a good thing that you said. You can't keep talent down, and he is generational. Heck, she might be not just generational. That's a Mount Rushmore talent. I don't want to be disrespectful, but to me, that might be a Mount Rushmore talent when it's all said and done of women's basketball. And I know just saying that right now is probably blasphemous to some people, but
it could happen. It could. It's within the realm of possible. It's a lot to say, but it's a true statement that she could. It wouldn't be crazy that it ended up that way.
Yeah,
that she'd be on the route Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, so like that's 30 points. That's better than the average that she's been doing. Again, like I said, I know Fever fans will say they want more wins, but this is what y'all this is what y'all should have figured. I mean,
I had the first pick for a reason, though.
Yeah, Tamika
the way it works.
The top 3 picks for a reason, right? A'ja Wilson was a top 3 pick. Now they got Caitlin Clark, and sure enough, y'all might get Paige Beckers. Like I think that right now, at this point, the Fever are just stacking talent. The Tamika Catchings days are over. They have a good team, but I'm not thinking that they're going to make it to the playoffs. I think it's Caitlin Clark starts to figure it out. I think it's going to end up kind of like what happened with Wemby, right? obviously two different players, but kind of like Wemby. There was hype. Victor Wembanyama came. They made like 23, 25 wins. That's probably about what the Fever wound up getting. People were very hyped to see them games, see Wemby. You remember, like, we were talking about, like, is this Wemby hype as big as LeBron, Jordan, or Kobe hype when they first came to the league? Like, people boxed, like, traveled to see Wemby, just like they're traveling to see Caitlin Clark, right?
Wemby had a better rookie season than all those guys. I mean,
technically, statistically, yeah.
Wembanyama was better than advertised,
mm-hmm.
and I don't hear that enough.
Right.
So I just need to say that.
Yeah, Wemby was definitely as advertised, if not more, right?
Nah,
and Caitlin Clark right now, yeah, people might say that she's been underwhelming, but again, like you said, this is what happens when you're a little bit undersized, when obviously you've got a target on your back, stated or otherwise. Like, I'm not saying people trying to hurt her, but she does have a target on her back as a number one pick.
Absolutely.
So like
you don't want to be the reason. You don't want to be the night that she drops her first 40 piece, her first 50 piece, be on your team. You and your bench looking all sad and looking all frustrated as she's yelling. You know she's going to turn up and make people look silly and be flashy, what people don't like. So not tonight. That's everybody right now. Everybody like, not tonight. At a certain point, it's going to be y'all's night. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to figure it out. I mean, I think that when it's all said and done, she'll probably average close to 20 points, probably about 10 assists or as close to it. She'll get there. She'll figure it out. But I think, to me, I think she's more of a two guard than a point guard. And I think it'll help her to be off ball. So that's why I said, like, to me,
like
dream,
Steph.
Yeah. And I know Morgan isn't
He's not a true one. I mean, he's not doing that you need somebody else who will push it consistently.
Right. And I can say this because Morgan is not here to tell me I can't say it, but I think Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston on the Fever is going to be the move, because I definitely still think they'll find a way to get a top 2, top 3 pick again, and we'll probably end up drafting Paige Beckers. So you UConn fans and Iowa fans and South Carolina fans might be uniting soon. And I know you all don't like each other, but you might be united soon as Indiana Fever fans. So
everybody likes W's.
Yeah. So and that's the thing, right? You go from like only suffering 3 W's to maybe suffering like 25 to 30. And I know Diana Taurasi talked about this. Brianna Stewart, all the former UConn Huskies talked about how they had to adjust to like losing.
To losing, you're saying?
Talent,
L's. Yeah.
Talent is equal in the WNBA, where it's not in the women's game, in women's college basketball.
Oh, absolutely.
Not as much.
There's a big disparity. I mean, there's a lot of clanking going on.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man. So moving right along to wrap this WNBA segment up. That's how you know it's trending up. Look, we lead the A block with it, right? So best team in the WNBA so far. To me, I'm gonna go with. I think to me it's a tie. To me, between the Aces. Obviously, I can't. We just talked about A'ja Wilson, and the Aces are the defending champs. To be the man, you got to beat. Or in this case, to be the women, you got to beat the women. So I think that's the Aces. I think the Liberty. When you got Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, who, Caitlin Clark kind of is quietly stealing all that Sabrina Ionescu shine right there. You got that. You got Jonquel Jones. Anytime you got those 3 together, and how deep the Liberty are. But to me, it's the Aces by a country mile right now between those 2 teams. And I have no problem saying that. I think it'll be the Aces and somebody else. It might end up being a rematch with the Liberty, but I can see the Seattle Storm coming. They're coming too. Like, anytime you got Nneka and Skylar Diggins, like, heck, we haven't even talked about Skylar yet. Like, Skylar's back with a vengeance. Like, you can never count out the Mercury. So, but I think right now the best team by a mile is the Aces, and until I see otherwise, I'm gonna say the Aces.
Yeah, I don't know enough on it to speak at the level. You said there's levels to this, so
I bet that in fandom. Oh man, all right then. So we'll move right along to the other big story, at least in football, one of them. Jalen Waddle got a contract extension, 3 years, $84 million. Now the second highest paid wide receiver behind our boy, A.J. Brown. So, what you think about this, Matt? I'm going to let you lead.
They had to do it. They had to do it. And it was a smart move. He's a good player, one of the top players in the league at the wide receiver position. You also have to get somebody else to make them have to respect somebody else as a wide receiver if you're the Miami Dolphins. Also, you can spend what you want, because to be honest, you're not sure that you're going to have to re-sign Tua. So if Tua doesn't ball out, if Tua doesn't go to an AFC championship this year, which he won't, then you can go and trade him and get something else and get an early first round quarterback, and then build your franchise that way. You have to pay Jalen Waddle. You don't let him walk out the door. You don't let defenses key in on Tyreek Hill. And so it's just the cost of doing business right now. He's going to be he is, in that group of top paid wide receivers, and watching about, a year from now, he'll be appropriately compensated, and he's a very good player. Is he a top 5 wide receiver? No. Is he a top 10 receiver? No. Is he a 15-20 guy? Yeah, he is. So it's good business.
Yeah, I think if you're Justin Jefferson, you're mad because you essentially what happened is the Eagles reset the market, and then the Dolphins reset the market because they paid Devontae and AJ Brown, and both of those two were like the 2 highest paid receivers for like 2 weeks before Jalen Waddle came in. And so if you're Justin Jefferson right now, you're kind of looking around being like, am I not better than at least 3 of those guys? I mean, I don't think he's better than AJ Brown or Devontae, but I know that's blasphemous to say. I can get away with saying I don't think he's better than AJ Brown, but I think Devontae is coming.
He definitely is. Devontae Smith is a great wide receiver, not even just good.
Yeah, but I know that Jalen Waddle, like you said, you covered it very, very well, my brother. Like he is a top 15, top 20 receiver. I think people would understand how good he is if he wasn't the second option next to Tyreek Hill, because he's a number one. Like he's a number one option on a really good team. He just suffers from being next to the cheetah, that people don't realize how good he is. Like really, Miami.
He's really fast too. Yeah. He's also like the cheat. They are the cheetahs.
Yeah.
If you go pull up a highlight video of Jalen Waddle and watch him, people trying to get him in a foot race. Yeah, they have 2 of the top 5, fastest wide receivers in the league.
Yeah.
Just pure speed.
Yeah, and like I said, like I think people will realize how good he was if he wasn't next to if he wasn't next to Tyreek Hill, like not the God receiver, but up there as the God receiver, right?
He's unguardable.
Yeah,
he
is.
And that's why I say I'm so harsh on Tua, because I don't think Tua is good.
Okay. You have made your point clear. I don't think you can get as high to take on as far as this topic as you just said with Tua's. Basically, you said Tua's not going to get to an AFC Championship game, and he won't be a Dolphin next year. So I think you said it all on Tua in this segment. So
just to make sure I wasn't unclear. So if anybody want to pull it up, I'm calling it now. I might be the only person out here saying it. I'm saying it strong with my chest out.
I ain't got nothing to look. I already said, like, when you're in the same division as the God quarterback, that being Patrick Mahomes, you best not miss. So I'm of the mind.
They're in the same conference. They're in the same conference. Yeah. Not the division, but yeah.
So sorry, you were right. The same conference. I'm in the mindset that when you're in the same conference as the guy QB, like if you don't have enough weapons or a quarterback that can duel with him, then you out of luck. So as the 49ers found out last year. So I am of the mindset that Jalen Waddle would get more respect, and people would feel like he earned that contract if he was not next to Tyreek Hill. But absolutely, he is worthy of that money. I have nothing else to say about this. He's a great wide receiver. But if you're Justin Jefferson, I know you're mad, and there's no way Like, I'm not just saying that because I'm an Eagles fan, but also I don't think the Eagles have to play the Vikings this year, so that works out for that works out for the Eagles. But
Slavin locking him up. He's been
man,
putting him on Akon Young Jeezy.
I know, but I'm just saying,
easy.
But I'm just saying, like, that was Justin Jefferson without anything to play for. Now he's got like a new contract to play for, and I think it's disrespectful that they haven't signed that man yet. So
the Vikings haven't signed him.
Yeah, the Vikings haven't re-signed him, but that might be a good thing.
Does he want to not be signed? I
don't know. He's holding. I think he's holding. He's got a mini. Obviously, this is volunteer workouts right now, so I think he's got a mini holdout going right now. I think. So we'll see. We'll see once
Jordan Love and the Packers are about to be running that division for the next decade.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I mean, that's why I say when you said, does he want to be signed? I'm like, yeah, I don't think Justin Jefferson wants to be signed. You don't have Kirk Cousins throwing you the ball. You don't have Kirk Cousins throwing them YOLO balls anymore to you. Like, I think if I'm him, I'm like, oh yeah, let me look at my options. Like, what's available for me in a minute, right? Like, can I go to Cincinnati? Like, can I go to Buffalo? Can we go somewhere? Can I go to Houston? Like, can I go somewhere else?
Whoa, Houston would be too much. The league gotta veto that.
Well, I'm not going to say go to Dallas. So yeah. So speaking of that, right? Is the wide receiver position becoming the new running back position? So obviously, you see that these last few weeks, AJ Brown got signed. Devontae Smith got signed. You obviously Jalen Waddle just got signed, but those are rare occasions this summer. I mean, I feel like this is the second summer where I find myself discussing about people not getting paid. T. Higgins is still not signed. He may or may not either get the franchise tag or get the boot from Cincinnati. Like, so many wide receivers right now are sitting unsigned unless they're signed to a contender. And like the contender has no choice, like what happened with the Eagles. Obviously, they were never not going to pay Devontae or not pay AJ. But like what you
I
think?
feel like, to be honest, I think it's a strong no. I think the guys who the case that like Ayuk is overplaying his hand. Ayuk is not a $30 million a year. I mean, I'm not the guy to set somebody's value. I don't believe that that's what's going to end up happening with San Fran. They're not going to pay him that. Cincinnati's being cheap with T. Higgins. That's an interesting scenario. But by and large, I mean, you saw Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis's contract Gabe Davis actually got more money than Saquon. Right. Gabe Davis isn't in the same stratosphere of a player as Saquon, but he got more money. Guys are getting money all over. But I definitely think that it's a passing league. Everybody likes to see the ball up in the air and get that excitement, and the guy come down with it. And there's going to be no shortage of that. Those guys are going to be raking in the dough, and they just got to play this situation, play their situations right.
Right. Well, this is a rare thing because I semi-disagree with you. This doesn't really happen when both of us are, well, it does, but usually in Sixers conversations, not outside of that.
NFL.
But I disagree slightly with your point, because I think that your point that, obviously Gabe Davis got money, T. Higgins, Cincinnati's being cheap, or he doesn't want to be there. When you're next to Jamar Chase, I don't know if you want to be the second banana to that.
He's not a number one though. Yeah. He's not a number one.
Well, but he's never really gotten that chance because he's been next to Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd. So he's never been like the number one option.
And he's benefited from that, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I guess in his mind, right, his argument is I've never been a number one. Like, Tyler Boyd isn't there, so now I'm a solid second now. But do you really want to be second banana to Jamar Chase? Because but here's what I think his logic is, right? I would too, but because of that college connection that Joe Burrow we've seen it, right? If you're a Jamar Chase fantasy owner, the fact that Joe Burrow favors Jamar Chase has probably helped you win a few championships.
Player.
So
yeah. Because he's a better player. I mean, Jamar Chase might be the best wide receiver in football.
Yeah, and that's look. I'm just saying, like from T. Higgins's perspective, like there is some
From
clear
T. Higgins'
favoritism
perspective, he
there.
need to chill and get that number 2
Yeah,
coverage
yeah.
and cook these
Look,
guys and get his
I'm with you.
money. That's what he need to do from T. Higgins' perspective.
I am. I slightly. I disagree with you in one aspect. I think that, I think it's like the running back position in this case, right? Now, obviously, there's not a Jamar Chase, AJ Browns, Devontae Smiths don't grow on trees, right? Like, obviously, the best receiver in this draft, you can make an argument, but the best receiver in this draft is Marvin Harrison, right? Like Junior, not his father. Let me just be clear on that. Marvin Harrison Jr., right? But like, those guys are a dime a dozen, right? So like that's what I mean by when I say like I think that the wide receiver position is becoming the running back position simply because I think a lot of players think that, or a lot of these GMs and owners think that I don't need to pay T. Higgins when as long as I got Jamar Chase, as long as I got Justin Jefferson, as long as I got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, I can just plug and play when it comes to receivers because like I'm not looking for a number one. I'm looking for a slot. I'm looking for somebody. I'm looking for, an Olazade Zaccheaus. Like I'm looking for somebody who's fast, tall, and can catch the ball. I'm looking for a Smith and Jigba to be a third to Metcalf and Lockett. I'm not looking for a number one. That's what I mean when I think that, like, obviously you've got it's kind of top heavy right now, but it won't be for much longer, right? Like we like AJ Brown, but AJ Brown, he's not on. I'm not saying he's old or he's about to decline, but eventually he will decline, right? And like that contract, soon and very soon, people will be saying, man, AJ Brown doesn't deserve that money. Matter of fact, it's probably going to be like around the 8th or 9th game of this season. People will be saying that.
Stop. I disagree. That's crazy.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, people look, we both know Philadelphia. People will be saying very, very soon, probably soon and very soon, as the old hymnal would say, that AJ Brown is not worth the money. But that's what I'm saying. Like, when you can get
from Philadelphia, a team that has been poor at the wide receiver position for 40 years, for longer than we've been alive.
Look, I remember
the city of Dante Stallworth and Reggie Brown and Kevin Curtis as the cookers.
Yeah, look, I remember
when stop James Trash.
I remember when Todd Pixton.
Y'all better stop trying to run Devontae Smith. Y'all stop playing.
I remember when Todd Pixton was the best receiver we had, bro. I remember those days. I remember those days
when I had enough of y'all. Y'all making me sick.
I remember
all y'all Negadelphians.
Look, man, like so my overall argument is like, if you're the Eagles, you're the Bills, not so much because they don't really have a wide receiver now. But like if you're the Niners, right? As long as you got like your number one option, you can just plug and play. And I think like to me, I love to see 49ers dysfunction. So it's hard for me to like, I'm taking the Eagles fan hat off and just being objective here. But they kind of need Ayuk because what's his name is going down. Like he was injured. He got injured during the Super Bowl and it kind of all fell apart as soon as he went down. As soon as Debo went down, it kind of all fell apart. So like that's why I'm like, I don't think Ayuk is overplaying his hand. I don't think he's worth $30 million. But when you got a receiver that's like a running back and a wide receiver, like you kind of need that second guy because we don't know if Debo can make it a full season, right? So I'm of the mindset that, like I said, I disagree with you slightly just because some of these teams, they already have their number one receiver. And to me, it's becoming the running back position because this is kind of what happened with the running backs, right? You had Deshaun Alexanders, your Marshawn Lynch's, your Brian Westbrooks. And then because they had that, teams were like, all right, I just need a second or a third behind this guy. And that's how the running back the position became devalued because they were like, we can just get it out the draft. And I think that's what's happening now to a lesser extent with the wide receiver position. You've got T. Higgins and them sitting to the side, not being able to leave Cincinnati because teams don't need him right now because they've got, multiple receivers. They've got rookies that they're proud of. So after preseason, maybe we'll see some movement with T. Higgins and Brandon Ayuk as far as on the trade front. But CeeDee Lamb is about to be
dropped like $200 million on wide receivers, and we're talking about the position has been devalued.
No. I'm saying that it hasn't been devalued yet. I'm saying it's on its way. What I'm saying is, if you don't have obviously the Eagles, have 2 wide receivers that are really, really good and have an argument of being like top 5, top 3 wide receiving tandem in the league, right? I agree with you on that point. I'm just saying that, like, because of that, teams are looking for like 3rd or 4th wide receivers. So a guy who's literally like T. Higgins, right, the 3rd option, or you could make an argument maybe the 2nd option when Tyler Boyd wasn't there. Like, I'm just saying that it's kind of getting devalued because now, because a lot of these teams have 1 or 2 wide receivers, they're just looking for a slot. They're looking for a speed guy. So it's becoming that because that's what happened with the running back position. It wasn't that. It was a combination of retirements and the fact that you could get these suitable, okay players off the draft, and they would do well behind good offensive lines as long as everything works around them. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying it's becoming that. It's not there yet. I agree with you, but it's becoming the running back position just because you can get those 3rd or 4th option guys out of the draft. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I think when you have a Patrick Mahomes, you can. When you got Jared Stidham and you got these other random guys, I don't know if you can really make it work with these first year. I mean, Josh Allen, he'll probably make it work with the Keon Coleman guy. I just don't know if that's actually gonna actually work for people.
Well, right, we'll see. This is obviously alone. Like what we're talking about is long term, right? We're not saying it's gonna happen. I'm not saying it's gonna happen today, but I'm just saying I see the train is out the station to make it thing. I think that people wide receivers will be getting run over by that train sooner than later, but not any.
So all the money's gonna go to quarterbacks? Because where's the money gonna go then?
I think it'll go. So look, I think that like we're seeing it, right? We're seeing kind of like the tight end revolution, obviously. Like again, because I know that some of these players, like, is there really a true tight end position when you have like a Dallas Goedert and a Travis Kelce, a Dawson, a Dalton Knox, and all these other players in Buffalo? Like those 3 really being hybrids, right? They're tight ends, but really they're wide receivers. Like it'll go to the tight ends. If you got a big time tight end, obviously Travis Kelce is starting to do this, but if you got a big time tight end, you're gonna pay them. Like I'm just saying, like QB, if you got a big time QB, a running back, and a tight end, you're probably gonna pay like San Francisco just did this, right? They paid the tight end before they paid Debo and before they paid Brandon Ayuk. Like, Kittle is getting a lot of what Brandon Ayuk wants right now. So like that's what I mean. Like when you got a big time tight end like that, you're gonna pay them before you pay your wide receiver. And then so that's what I mean. Like
I don't know about that. But we'll see. We'll see.
I know that there aren't teams like the Eagles or like the Bills or the 49ers that have big time tight ends. But I just think that that's where it's gone. But again, a slight disagreement there. But to something that was big time for a lot of people, the MLB made it official. The Negro League records are finally being recognized by Major League Baseball. First and foremost, kudos to Major League Baseball. Better late than never. So good on them. Josh Gibson is now the league leader, the all-time leader in batting average, taking out Ty Cobb. All Matt and I can know about Ty Cobb is what we read. From what I understand, apparently he was very, very, very. To give him some fairness, other than saying he was very racist, I'll just say he was very racially problematic. I'll be diplomatic here.
He wasn't alone
back then. So, okay. So let's get through this. So, what you think about this finally being recognized?
I think it's amazing. I think it's a great thing. And not to get too deep into the social commentary, but I think we have a lot of discussions in this country about, whether people like affirmative action, this or that. We had affirmative action in the form of, leagues that only some people could compete in. And so these people were being saved from having to potentially play against the best people of their generation, because the best people of their generation might have been locked out into a different league of baseball. And so we'll never actually know. And so maybe they all need asterisks, but we never knew because of racially motivated policies. And so if everybody got segregated, then everybody got segregated and they all have asterisks then, however we want to do that. But the person who hit from professional baseball the most home runs, best OPS, Josh Gibson. That's what I got to say.
Yeah, Josh Gibson. I agree with that. Even though neither one of us were alive to see it, but hey, glad to see those records finally recognized. Why did it take so long? I just think that there wasn't like pressure. I mean, a lot of this in the reporting that I've seen, I don't know if you've seen any deeper reporting, but I think a lot of this started percolating now. Once obviously a lot of this stuff started percolating around the time George Floyd died. The MLB started looking into this, and I'm glad that I hate the fact that such a negative event made them do this, but it's just a testament that this should have been sooner. But like I said earlier, better late than never. I think it just took so long because I don't think there was an appetite there, and I hate saying that about our ancestors in the Negro League, but that's probably what happened. Out of sight, out of mind, as both of us know. Like if no one's pressuring them to think about this, it doesn't matter, right? So like it's kind of ironic that this happens at a time where in bigger markets, right, they're struggling to like have really good black players like what you and I grew up on with King Griffey Jr. and a bunch of others, right? CC Sabathia and others like running around here. And then baseball's kind of struggling with that now. They don't really have that. You got Cedric Mullins in Baltimore. Baltimore's probably the biggest city with like a big time black MLB star right now. Obviously, I don't want to take away from LA with Mookie Betts, but
he's the one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There ain't that many. The Phillies, I think they just have Tejan, right?
Taiwan Walker. He's not a star though.
I know, but he's like the biggest one, and it used to be.
Marlins got Jazz Chisholm. There's some stars throughout the league. I take me a couple minutes, but you got some real ballers around the league. I would say,
right. And again, like coming from the '90s where we grew up, obviously Ken Griffey Jr. ran that for us, but you don't really have that now. So I know you gotta go soon. So let's hit these as many as
the finals.
Yeah, we get the finals. Yeah, let's preview that. We can start there. Let's preview the finals. So Dallas Mavericks, Boston Celtics. So what's your take on this?
I'm really excited about this series. I can really see it going either way. I expect a 7-game series. I expect it to be exhilarating. I expect there to be major comebacks, 20-point down comebacks. Maybe somebody be 3-2 down, win the series. Wild swings. A lot of talent on the floor, a lot of subtext with potentially Jason Tatum finally getting a ring. That young man gets himself a ring. He's in some serious company. He's played a lot of good NBA playoff basketball, and he's still got a lot of years ahead of him. Obviously injury pending. Nobody hopes for any injuries for folks, and so you hope to be able to see him continue to have a great career, come up really big. A win for him means a lot, but also win the whole story with Luka and with Kyrie Irving. Discussion about redemption and all that. America loves a redemption story. It's a unexpected from the West, but very expected. I told you that the Celtics were the best team in the East, hands down. They damn swept everybody. And come on, man, you were hating on those people. Now that we talk about it,
let's not. I wasn't hating.
You were hating.
As my phone rings in the background, I'll get to that after the show.
Try to distract people,
but but yeah, like the Celtics obviously was very expected. Even I said that, I expected the Celtics to beat whoever they wound up playing in the ECF anyway. I expected to go 7 games, but I was hating I wasn't hating. I was just being honest, right? The Celtics aren't the juggernauts that a lot of y'all thought they were, and obviously they benefited from a worn out Pacers squad and obviously an injured Pacers squad, but you play who's in front of you. And so to me, I think this matchup, as far as the X factors and things, I'm excited for this series. I agree with you. I think it goes 6 or 7 games. I think it's a deep series. But I think here you got like, does Derek Lively have a big impact? Do their twin towers of Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford, a man from former Wizard, Daniel Gafford, or they
talk about a redemption story?
Will they be effective as they were against Cat and and Gobert against, will they be effective against old Horford, old reliable? Was Kristaps Porzingis will come in
Kristaps
like
and them will stretch
Chris,
them out.
yeah,
They
Kristaps.
gonna have a.
I agree. Unfortunately, it's going to be blasphemy here because I'm going to say this for the first time on this airways, but unfortunately, because I can't go with Dallas, I can't support the team from Dallas. I think it's Boston in 6. Don't shoot me, Philadelphia. I think it's Boston in 6. And
if you make me pick, I'm going Mavs in 7.
Okay. Wow, we got some I did not say basketball is where we disagree. I think Boston in 6 because I think that they'll have enough. I think, with Drew Holiday and Derek White to at least frustrate, clearly hobble Luka Doncic, and Kyrie Irving. I don't know if that'll stop them from still dropping like 40 or 50 a night, but I think that as long as they slow them down and they don't go with the Minnesota approach of letting everybody get off.
They got the week off though. Luka got a week to get himself together.
Right.
I think we're going to see a.
Yeah, but that don't help a sprained knee and a sore and a sprained foot get back together. I mean, I look. If I'll say it like this: if Luka comes out the Luka I saw last night, then yeah, the Celtics ain't got no chance. But with Jason Tatum, Jalen with the Killer Jays. But I think, like I said, that's a factor here. You've got the Kristaps Porzingis factor. Kristaps Porzingis comes in dropping 25, along with like Jaylen Brown dropping 28, Tatum dropping 35. Then yeah, the Mavs have no chance. That's what I'm saying.
You went from saying that they're not the juggernaut to then saying they're gonna beat them in 6.
I said they were the juggernaut during the regular season, and now we're in the postseason.
Wait, they were the number 1 team
right. But I'm saying, but they were.
They swept the ECF, and then you picked them to win in 6, but they're not a juggernaut.
No, I was saying they're not as strong. Look, to me, like they were more of juggernauts, right? Last year, right? They were unstoppable last year, with the only weakness really being Marcus Smart. Where in this year, like I just see some cracks, but I don't know. Here's what I'll say, right? Although I think they're not as strong as they were last year, right? I don't know if the Mavericks, other than Kyrie and Luka, have a chance to really expose Boston where their weakest at, right? I just don't think that the Mavericks have that talent. Now, if it was the Timberwolves versus the Celtics, like I picked it to be last week, I think I would be picking Timberwolves in 6. But since the Boston,
because of the length, you think Boston's going to be able to, the perimeter defense is going to be able to contain them?
Yeah, I think that's why I said I think Drew Holiday and Derek White, because they are very tough defenders and they play very tough, and they don't bite on pump fakes, they don't bite on ankle breakers. I think that, that's why I said, to me, Celtics in 6. And I think, just to answer this question, like, because I've kind of already jumped into it, I think the Celtics have the defensive focus backcourt to contain Luka and Kyrie. But that's because, like, Drew Holiday, obviously he benefited from not having to chase Tyrese Halliburton around anymore those last few games. But I think that Drew Holiday and Derek White have enough to contain Luka and Kyrie. And by contain, I don't mean like they score like 13 points. They still score like 20, 30 points. But I just don't think it's like allow 30 or allow 40 like it was against the Timberwolves, against the Celtics. Because again, you'll have, you'll have Brown dropping 35, 40, and then you'll have Tatum dropping 30 or whatever. Like, so I think this is big, like you said, big legacy game for Tatum. I don't think he can be doing this like he was up until like the last 2 games of the series. I think he needs to come out and do well. Just to wrap this up, since we're here, we already got into our series predictions. So do you think, like, no matter how it ends, do you think this run makes Luka want to stay in Dallas? Do you think
he has to?
You think
There's no reason to leave. There's no reason to leave. You get an opportunity to take a team. They show you that they can get you from you and the team together can get the team from out of the playoffs to the NBA Finals in one season. It's your team. We're trying to surround you with one of the best, most clutch players in the history of basketball. I think it would be silly for him to leave. I mean, where is he going?
Yeah, I think so. I think the same. I think that I would love to say that Luca should leave right now after this, but I think he should give it like another year or two before just to see how it goes, right? Because I think we had another question. Do I think this is a fluke run or not? I do think it's kind of a fluke, but I think that like those two together, I think they can do a lot together. I like
All runs
Kyrie.
are flukes.
Right. Well, look, I'll say this. I think I like Kyrie when he's focused on basketball and and does more quiet activism than like being in front of a mic, and just doing different things to show us how intelligent he is because he went to Duke. And so I think I
Most champions are not back-to-back champions. Like
right,
this
right.
idea that the team who wins the championship was the best team from beginning to end and is just some stable franchise. Sometimes you just shoot, like Dirk's championship. And so it just there's so many parallels. Dallas has a history of treating the superstars well. It would be silly for me. I don't get the idea of him going to a different team.
Okay. And so, same. Should the Celtics blow it up if the Mavericks shock the world and beat them in the finals? Just so you know where I'm leaning with this. I honestly think that, they signed Drew Holiday. Obviously, all they need to do is sign Jason Tatum. But I think they have some serious questions to me if they lose to this Mavericks team. Because here's what I'll say, right? If the Celtics lose, and let me just say, because I just picked the Celtics at 6 to shock Mac, I have to say that, right now, I just don't see how you can make the Celtics team, if they lose, any better than they are right now. You've got Kristaps Porzingis.
Time together.
Yeah, right. Time together. But, like, I'm saying, like, I don't know if there's another move you can make, like, as far as trades and stuff. You just got to let them grow together, which is why I'm saying if the Celtics lose, I think they have to figure it out. I think Jason Tatum has to look at if he thinks that he can, I think it always comes down to this, right? Like, Ken Brown and him work. Obviously, they made it to the finals the last couple of times. But if hypothetically if the Mavericks do what they did to the Heat, that you referenced that Dirk championship, like if they do that to the Celtics, then I think that Jason Tatum has to look at it before he signs on the dotted line and gets his big fat contract extension. I think that he needs to look at it.
He would be out of his mind.
Look,
as a Sixers fan, I hope he does it. It would be dumb. All capital letters for him to leave the Celtics.
Look,
beyond
man,
dumb.
I think he has to think about it. Like, I think that there's only so much you can do. You get to the finals, things happen, obviously, right? It happens.
Let me go to the finals every year and lose. Like, I'll be okay.
Not every year.
Let me go to the ECF every year I've been in the league. I'll be okay.
Okay. Hey, look,
from
man,
Sixers fans who haven't been to the ECF since we were in second grade.
Look, bro. I didn't ask you to turn the knife, bro. I didn't ask you to turn the knife. So
I'm just saying, I'm not gonna just up and leave somewhere where I'm going to the ECF every year.
Look, Jason Tatum. Look, as you're not Asian, I think you need to think about before you sign it on the dotted line. Can this work with Jalen with Brown?
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to Jason. If this ever gets to you, don't listen to him. He is trying to sabotage what you got going on. He's not listening to this foolishness.
I'm just saying, if you get to a couple championships and you lose, you got to think about it. Let me just say again, I picked the Celtics at 6. I don't think this will happen. But if they do shock the world, I think you got to look at it. I don't know if you all the way blow it up. But I just don't see where they can get better other than, like you said, time together. But should the Philadelphia Sixers go superstar hunting or fill out the team with role players for the next season? I can't have you on the show and not ask you a Sixers question. You know that.
Right, yeah. So I would say, and I'm not trying to give the politician answer, but with very good role players, examples, I would love to add OG Anunoby. He's a near star. To add OG Anunoby, get DeMar DeRozan, and then fill out with a bunch of other role players. But I don't exactly call those guys role players. Those guys are players who could be your second lead scorer on any given night. OG Anunoby, lock you down on the 3 and D, and then find a couple of 3-point shooters, fill the team out with 3-point shooters around Joel Embiid, another couple of really good rebounders, because I'm just sick of watching the other teams hammer us on the offensive boards in the playoffs. And then they'll be good. I mean, I'm still optimistic about the team.
Okay, yeah. To me, I think they need to. I've said this before. Not you weren't here, but I think that they need to look at if Paul George doesn't come. I think they need to look at Ingram. I think that of all the options, of all the 30-plus-year-old options, he's the best one because he's younger. I think that he does what they need to do as far as spacing out the floor. I think that his defense can improve. Outside of that, if that doesn't happen, I think they need to look at Malik Monk. I think
I
that
like Monk. I like Monk,
he's
but
a
I
free.
don't like Ingram. I mean, I like them; they're good players, but I don't like the fit with
Well,
Ingram, and I don't like the check.
okay. Well, look, I they can get Monk. That would make me happy as far as role players. I just think they need to get somebody in here that's not gonna be scared to shoot. So Monk, I think, does that job. I think Dream for me. Obviously, this won't happen because this man would have to go through like temporary stupidity to do this. But I think you go see Danny Ainge about Larry Markkinen. I think that would be perfect. A Twin Towers
Oh
here,
yeah.
somebody who can
Oh
shoot the
my
three.
gosh. Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that would be perfect. I think you go
Play
see
him
him.
at the 3. You
Yeah, I
still
think
need to get a 5.
yeah, I think you go see him. I think you get Andre Drummond back to answer the 5 question. Play Paul Reed at his natural PF position, unless you get a
Mhm.
replacement in the draft. I obviously think you resign. Obviously, you sign Tyrese Maxey to the Supermax right now. What are we doing? And like I think that's what I
Exactly.
think you do. I think you go start. You try and go start hunting, but I don't want Jimmy Butler's a little bit older and a lot better than he was. But he's a lot older and a lot more injury prone than he
I'm
was.
not paying Jimmy. I'm not
I'm not
paying
paying Jimmy either.
Paul.
We agree on that.
I'm not paying
Um,
Paul George. I'm sorry.
I think like of the options, I think you try to pay Brandon Ingram and then you try to pay Paul George. I would love to pry OG Anunoby
I'll
from the
pass on
Knicks.
anybody.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'll
I don't
pass
know if that'll
anybody.
happen, but I would love to do it.
You can
And
get him.
yeah, I think that that's what they need to do. I think they need to spend the $65 million. Like Daryl needs to see what his options are, free agent wise, between George Ingram and Butler. But I don't think he needs to like overpay. I would love for Paul George to be here, but I don't think you need to let me say this, over trade in the case for Jimmy Butler, over trade for Jimmy.
Nah,
I
it's
think I
ridiculous.
think that and I think Ingram or George will work, but Malik Monk, Lowry Markkinen, Andre Drummond, and like somebody else, I think would work. If I'm the Sixers, that's how I would spend the $65 million. Go get some role players. Go try and get Ingram, and Paul George is the second option. And obviously, the dream option is try and figure out what you need to do to get Danny Ainge to come off Larry Markkinen. That's where I'm at. Do you have anything? Do you have anything else you want to say? He's not him before you go.
Yeah, before I go, that he's not him is a lot of people's favorite person right now. Diddy,
Uh oh.
he messing up. He's messing up. He is messing up. Notorious Big songs. I hear him in the background now. I'm like, damn, he gonna be like the next R. Kelly. Now you can't hear the Biggie songs at the wedding. The unintended consequences of absolute foolishness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow. All right. Well, look, my he's not him. Unfortunately, well, actually, my they aren't them. Unfortunately, y'all know how much I love this team, but I gotta say, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. Just because they came up so small after I hyped them up. Matt knows that the Timberwolves. I was driving that trade, like that they're the good team. Them and the Thunder. I was driving that trade. I would tell him.
mhm.
I would tell him when he was listening. I'd tell him the Thunder and the Timberwolves are coming. That's why it pains me to do this.
Mhm.
But they aren't them to the Timberwolves, just because I thought they would not go out getting blown out because that series has been close throughout the past 4 games, and then they finally get blown out. Obviously, the Nuggets wore them out. It's unfortunate
Yep.
that once you get to the conference finals, it goes every other day instead of every 2 days or whatever it should be. But them's the breaks. It's unfortunate, but I think they'll come back stronger. I hate to do this to the Timberwolves because everybody knows I love Ant. I love Ant Man. Obviously, shout out to my he's Camden, New Jersey, but my Philly area brother, Carl Anthony's Hounds, hate doing it to you, bro, but you know, you can't say you're the best shooting big man ever and then lay eggs except for in game 4. So sorry to do it to you, brother, but the Timberwolves, I think, will be back much stronger. That's my they aren't them. My he's not him. Unfortunately, is my man Anthony Edwards. Got to be better, man. I understand. Tired, frustrated, but it was Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. It wasn't Gary Payton guarding you. Like, they're both good defenders, but they're not Gary Payton. So you had no excuse to only be scoring 12, 15, 20 points. Be better, my brother. I think you will be. But yeah, you'll be better. I guess you'll be with Team USA in the Olympics. So, you know, I think there'll be another year of improvement, but I think the Timberwolves are coming, and so are the Thunder. So that's why it pains me to have to do this to them right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think that wraps it. That wraps it up for the day, guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Matt, for being the substitute in for Morgan. Like I said, Morgan is at her bridal shower. Just came in at an hour and 5 minutes. Matt playfully said before we got on here it would be 2 hours, but nope, we got off. We got off just in time. So thank you all for listening.
Thank you for listening, y'all.
Thank you. I'm Kylan. That's Matt at Kylan W. Watson on Twitter/X. Honorable mention _podcast on the gram. Matt, you got any episodes coming out that the people can check out?
Yeah, there's just one I just dropped right now. Go over to YouTube, the Honorable Mention podcast. Others will pop up, I believe, but just Honorable Mention podcast, Matt Rogers, or Mattrogers. Check that out. There's one that just dropped.
All right, y'all.
With,
talk to you later.
Frank Close and Chris Franklin. See y'all.
See y'all.
All right, Colin, I got to roll. I got to get